welcome to Cram Bamble, the podcast about weird shit. Yeah, I pulled a sneaky on you there, didn't I? My name's Taz.
I wasn't expecting that at all. I'm Kirsten.
And we're going to be talking about some weird stuff, but I've got a very important question for you, Kirsten.
Oh, yes?
Where's the fucking line? You got fantasy, you got sci-fi. Where's the line? Is there a definitive point in the middle? Does it kind of run on a spectrum? Is it like a color shade like the rainbow? Or is it something more, I don't know, definitive? Like, is it technology? Or is it concept? Or is it a point where religion stops existing? These are the questions that you're going to answer right now. I'm going to go for a break. Bye, guys.
I actually had the exact same thought, but mine was more about, because there's a lot of this stuff about, cryptozoology and folklore and that kind of stuff, and spirits and demons. They sort of all fall into like a supernatural category,
which I would consider fantasy between the two realms.
Yeah, but then where do aliens come in?
Science fiction. That's what I was asking.
I feel like they should all be together.
Well, there's a definitive line. If you walk into a bookstore in the fiction section and there's sci-fi and fantasy, you can look at the books, read the blurb, and you go, it's one or the other. What's the definitive line that blocks the two apart?
Between fantasy and science fiction?
Yeah.
I think science fiction is plausible, whereas fantasy has no basis in science.
Ah.
And when it does make a crossover, it becomes pure science. And that actually leads beautifully into what I've recently just discovered. And the question that I had was, if fairies and tiny folk, like your leprechauns and your elves and things.
Yes.
But I'm not Legolas elves, like tiny elves.
I'm following.
Yep. If they exist or existed, why didn't we find any bones? Why is there no evidence of them?
Because they don't exist in this realm. They exist in the Twilight realm.
So if they died, their bones would go to the Twilight realm?
So essentially, this falls into the category of fantasy, for those who are wondering, because apparently it cannot possibly ever exist and thus is not science fiction. There's a hole in your theory right there.
No,
Kirsten.
it isn't, because I can back this up with some real science.
Then I guess it makes it science fiction. So I guess they're not fantasy. Why are they in fantasy novels in the fantasy section of a bookstore?
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly the point I'm trying to make. So as soon as they find something a little unusual, like a tiny skeleton, which they've DNA profiled, and it's 100% scientific, they call it a fetus. Even though the other scientists totally dispute that and say that the bones have got the, what do you call it, the age of a 6-year-old. So how could it be a 6-year-old fetus? So it's 6 inches tall. They find these bones. They found them in Russia and in the Atacama Desert in America. They find them all the time and they go, no, it's just a fetus with deformities because they look really weird.
Well, I'm gonna scully all over this. Nuclear testing sites. Russia, obviously. The desert, Yanks love to bomb the shit out of sand. They're like glass blowers. They're like, what's that? A desert? No good.
But that's you assuming that these bones have been these bones are quite recent. Then
I've got about 47 manila folders downstairs with redacted pages that would disagree with me just thinking that.
But you're gonna love the and I keep getting the name wrong, and I'm so sorry because Taz knows how to pronounce things in Russian and I don't. The Alyoshenka? Yes, I got it right. Was the diminutive female. What they're calling a fetus, or the prematurely born female baby with huge deformities. Yes. You're going to love this. It gets really conspiracy.
I love me some deformities.
Well, no, you're going to love the conspiracy theory behind it.
Okay.
Because the lady who owned it, I'm not going to read, I'm just going to do this from memory.
Yep, you're talking at me, not the microphone. See, I told you.
Yeah, you did.
He's
sounds always on my case about my face at the microphone, but I get excited and I want to gesticulate and move around.
Anyone who's trying to make nice sounds on the computer knows my pain. I set it all up.
I have a special podcasting jacket because all my jackets were making too much noise.
Because you wear your Kathmandu that's made of plastic and rustles. It's like that person in a cinema who waits until after the trailers at the start of the movie to open their bag of chips. You're like, really, dude? I watched you there for 20 minutes.
I'm trying. I've got my special podcasting jacket, which for everyone else
it's
at
a
home,
bathrobe.
It's a bathrobe.
It's not a jacket, it's a bathrobe.
Well, it keeps me warm and it doesn't rustle.
To answer your question.
Wait, what was the question? No, I was going to tell you about these cool conspiracy theories behind it.
I know, but I've got the answer.
Wait. The lady
I'll lose the answer. It'll disappear from my brain and nobody in the...
Okay, tell me your answer.
Elastic bands. Bear with me.
I'm giving him a very, very confused, skeptical look right now for everybody at home.
So,
or in their car or at work.
Like a bungee cord.
Mm-hmm.
Like a spiritual bungee cord.
Yep.
So you know in every sci-fi movie where they send some dude through a portal and they've got a nice little winch attached to him so they can wheel him back in? Fairies have a bungee cord.
Like Beam Me Up, Scotty.
So basically if anything goes wrong, if the fairy's killed or whatever, boing, springs back through. Cannot leave evidence for the humans to mess around with.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that there has been occasions where they have, and science just cannot say, oh yeah, that's a fairy body. They have to go, it's a deformed fetus.
But it might be sci-fi then.
But that's what I'm saying. Sometimes there is a crossover, but science will not allow for there to be fantasy things.
You read these books and they say that there's sci-fi fantasy mix, and you can see every fan of sci-fi fantasy rolls their eyes and goes, why? Why are you doing this? It's like mixing, I don't know, two foods that definitely shouldn't be mixed. It's like mixing mincemeat and ice cream.
Yeah.
You roll your eyes and go, no, they're both great. They might belong on the same shelf in terms of being delicious, but you don't mix them together.
Oh, I don't know. I've just had a thought about, space centaurs. That would be cool.
I'm going to have to say no on that one.
Oh, really?
Because hooves would be impractical on a spaceship.
No, but that's the thing, is because they're mythical beasts, they can exist in the vacuum of space. They won't need to be on a spaceship. And surely they would design their own spaceships so where the hooves would be fine.
Why would a creature that was blessed by Sylvanus to run in the open fields of wherever they're from...
They can run in space, which is infinite.
Why would you want... No, you can't because there's no gravity. You can't feel the pounding of your hooves on the solid earth beneath you. I think a centaur that went to space would die. It would pine itself to death.
Because it misses the open fields?
Absolutely.
And the wind in its hair?
It's like the orcas that they put in SeaWorld. They're so sad. And they die. Yeah. And their dorsal fins go bloop.
Yeah, it is. It's a very sort of physical manifestation of their sadness. The centaur
would be slouching all the time like a teenager. I know, space
actually,
is cool,
all its
I guess.
bones would go all funny because of the anti-gravity.
It would. I mean, if they bred in space for a few generations.
You're going to cite that show you watched. The humans were in space and they got all the elongated bones. Yep.
So good.
Yeah.
I love it when TV shows actually answer questions. You're like, what would happen to a human body if it was, essentially over generations bred in space? Their bodies would elongate, their muscles wouldn't be as strong, and their bones would be lighter.
Yeah, and to me, that's science fiction because they're using science to propagate the fiction.
Yeah, and then you put that tall person on the ground
on Earth, and they've just
with
collapsed.
Not a mobile phone within sight, and they're a giant, which is fantasy.
Oh, I see.
You see what I mean? Where's the line? Is it technological based? If there's not a single electronic device within range, is it fantasy? Does it have to be a certain point in time? Because you see those games like Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k, and there's a definitive cutoff point. They go, well, Warhammer 40k is in the future, presumably. Warhammer Fantasy is in the past, presumably, in alternate realms and all that kind of jazz. But is it chronological? Is it technological? Is it an absence of religion? Because more often than not, sci-fi will have an absence of religion.
Oh, that's not true. If you look at the Dune series,
I said more often than not. Not always.
I don't know.
But that's why I asked, what's the line?
Well, if you're going to talk about Warhammer, and what about the Sisters of...
Well, the Imperium of Man, so
Yeah. Anyway, and I'm sure our listeners at home have been dying to hear about the conspiracy theories.
They have been dying to hear about the conspiracy theories.
Particularly about
But they're all very sad now about that sad centaur in space.
Yeah.
Alyoshenka.
Yes. So that lady that found her.
Yes.
She mysteriously went mad and was institutionalized.
But she was Russian.
Yep.
It was a 50-50 chance of that.
Anyway. And while she was in there, the government decided, let me just get this word right, Militia, the police, I think, the Russian police, they came in and confiscated the body to ostensibly do testing on it, but then it mysteriously disappeared.
Okay.
Wait, then the lady who was discharged from the hospital later
yes,
went to go and claim the body. They told her that it had disappeared, and then she died mysteriously in a car accident.
Silly lady. Once the government has your property, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, and you certainly don't go looking for it. Now, there has been speculation that it's a UFO body, because some of the scientists who've seen it said that there was far too many deformities for it to have been a human being.
Uh-huh.
But, I mean, that doesn't seem right.
Is there a certain number of deformities you can have on a human being? Like, oh no, humans, they can only have 3 deformities.
There were up to 20 counted, so I think over 20.
Okay, so we've got a quota. Like, that's the maximum. That's the ceiling for deformities in a human.
If you've got over 20 deformities, you cannot be human anymore, even though your DNA has been tested and it is.
Jeez. Okay, so 21 deformities, science fiction.
Mm-hmm. All right. But yeah, I just really particularly like that. It worked beautifully with your crossover from fantasy to science fiction.
Yes. I still want to know what the line is. If anyone out there has a theory on what the line is, send us an email at crambamblepodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter, which is crambamble, 2 words.
I think ghosts in particular also skirt that line. Science fiction and fantasy.
Whether or not they're spirits or from an alternate dimension kind of phasing through.
The ultimate dimension. The ultimate dimension.
It is not a realm of fantasy. It is not a realm of science fiction. It is a crossing of the two. It is the ultimate dimension.
Yes. Okay, the alternate dimension.
Alternate. That's just less exciting, but go on.
Theory has been pretty...
The ultimate dimension theory?
All right.
Can we trademark that?
Yeah, all right.
Oh, I'm going to write a paper. Do it.
No, they've said that obviously everybody knows this one, that ghosts are just phasing through our dimensions. So there are actually people in alternate dimensions that are just sort of phasing through.
Yeah, they're kind of like a thinning of the veil, so to speak, between the dimensions. So whether it be some sort of electronic source or magnetic source kind of thinning that connection between the dimensions.
And that's why they affect electrical devices and why EMFs can pick them up and stuff.
Or if it was a pre-existing tear in that location.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And that's why certain places are more haunted than others.
There was a movie, it was one of those daytime movies years ago called, I think it might have just been called Bermuda. It was about the Bermuda Triangle. Did you ever see it? Given that it's a daytime
I've seen so much about Bermuda, but I don't think I've seen a movie. Yes, I have. There was a cruise ship. Oh, and it was actually distorting time and space. It was crazy.
Okay, it might be the same one where eventually you get to it and they had started, they were starting up a generator underwater in that area and tore the fabric of time and space, and it sent the ripples backwards. So it was less frequent in the past, but more frequent in the future because they'd sent the pulse back through time. Was that the movie?
I don't think so. No, this movie was that they were on a cruise ship and then the cruise ship started to regress back to sort of like the 1920s.
Okay, it was just on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie started off with like a scene in World War II of, fighter planes fighting over wherever the Bermuda Triangle is and then disappearing through a portal.
Yep.
And essentially you watch the whole movie and they're like, oh, we've got decades of studies and all these things of people going missing. But essentially they had a massive, what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't matter. Like the big apex of the event happening, and they'd caused the ripples to go backwards. So they were like, oh, in this one area, these distortions and people disappearing is becoming more frequent, and it got to the point where it was happening every week. And so they were like, we're going to take this device to the Bermuda Triangle, set it off, which is going to stop the portal in the Bermuda Triangle. But they had essentially created it with that device rippling backwards.
Oh, see, that goes against everything I've ever read about time travel.
It was a daytime movie.
Okay.
So there wasn't time travel so much as it was just creating those pockets of disappearance.
Gotcha.
So people were disappearing through that pocket because they created like a tear
into
in that
like
area.
a pocket dimension. I've always liked pocket dimensions.
Does
that mean you can keep it in your pocket? You have a little dimension in there?
Possibly.
Like a bag of holding, but it's your pocket?
Well, I mean, if it messes with time and space, it's possible. I wouldn't rule it out.
Wouldn't that be amazing if you had a bag of holding as your pocket?
I'd lose so much stuff.
Oh, sorry. For the people that at home aren't massive nerds like us, and thank you, truck.
You've got to stop talking right as the truck goes by so the microphone doesn't pick it up. You're like, quiet. And we're good.
All right. This is the only problem with living on a fairly busy road and doing our podcast in the front room.
Yeah.
One day, with your support, we might be able to have a proper studio.
Yeah, if someone out there wants to send us, 200,000 Australian dollars, just send us a link to any Nigerian princes out there. If you need to, get our help with millions of dollars, hit us up at crambabblepodcast@gmail.com.
Absolutely. Now, what was I talking about?
Pocket dimensions. So you were going to give the lowdown.
I was going to give the lowdown about the bag of holding for people that aren't uber nerds and don't know about Dungeons and Dragons. There is item? Yes, an item called the bag of holding, and it is pretty much a pocket dimension. It holds everything you could possibly put in there, and the only way to retrieve it is when you put your hand inside the bag, you have to think about the object, and then it'll appear in your hand.
You can also turn the bag upside down, and everything in the pocket dimension will pour out, or if you puncture the bag.
Oh, this I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you collect someone else's bag of holding, you may not know what's in it, so you can't kind of reach your hand and think about it, so you just turn it upside down and pour it out.
That seems like a bit of a hack.
Well, yeah. It's just the way it's designed.
Oh, if you had a really mean DM and you got shot with arrows and he's like, yep, pierce the bag of holding.
It does happen sometimes.
Oh, that's so mean. Everyone protect your bags.
And if you put a bag of holding inside of another bag of holding or another item with a similar enchantment, it creates a vortex into the astral plane and sucks everything within, I think, 20 feet into it. It's like a gravity check. Because you're essentially putting a wormhole inside a wormhole.
That's what was in the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Some idiot's like, I'm going to double up and stack up these bags. Boop, boop. What a noise. Stupid idiot.
All right. Well, we solved the Bermuda Triangle.
We did solve the Bermuda Triangle. You're welcome, everybody. You can now fly the airs safely without wondering if the Bermuda Triangle is going to steal you from the air.
Interesting how it's not happened lately.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of mysterious things don't happen as much now because we're able to analyze it and go, it's fake. It's fake.
Is it though, or does science just not want to admit it?
Or maybe it really is our reptilian alien overlords covering it all up.
Or the Russians.
Or the Russians. Same.
Did you just call the Russians reptilian overlords?
Yes.
All right, thanks, guys. This will be our last podcast. Haz and I will be blacklisted from now on.
I personally welcome our alien lizard overlords for Mother Russia.
All right, so do you want to hear the latest cryptid news?
Yes.
Apparently,
there's a news.
Oh yeah,
Is it like the 7 o'clock news where you have like really like people who have you ever noticed like local news seems like people who have just given up? Like in their youth, they were, I'm gonna go on like 60 Minutes or whatever the big network news is, and they've gotten to a certain age and they've realized they're never gonna get picked up for it, so they just give up and they look like this horrible tanned color. Like they're like, I can only afford the same tan because I'm never gonna leave Channel 7 news. But my question was, is there a channel that does that style news with those kinds of people? Because if there isn't, we need to start that.
Oh yeah, just someone who looks like they've really just lost the plot and just so depressed with their lives.
Yeah.
And today in news, it seems that Bigfoot is using stealth cloaking technology.
Oh, the poor intern who wants to become a newscaster but gets given all the crappy jobs. It's summer again, guys, which means we're going to be cooking up some burgers with Sasquatch here. What do you got on the barbecue, Sasquatch? A little bit of pepper on there. Nice. Back to you, Greg.
Yes, fair enough. No, but that boring topic I just mentioned was true. Yes, apparently Bigfoot is using cloaking technology.
Well, that makes sense.
Well, no, because the more I read about this article, the more it just sounded like that other cryptid that you were telling me about the other day that makes itself really skinny and hides behind trees.
The hide behind?
The hide behind.
Hide behind. Same area.
Ah, Wisconsin?
Same area, yeah.
There you go.
So there were some theories that they may be the same, or the hide behind may be a Bigfoot that has garnered a taste for human flesh.
Right.
Yeah. In the same way that you have like man-eaters in tigers, where they're like, oh, most of the time they'll kind of avoid it, and then eventually get one that's just like, nah, I'm done. So some people say that the hide behind is a Bigfoot that's gone essentially rogue.
Oh, well, the latest reports of there've been a couple of people going out to do some Bigfoot spotting, and they've seen some shadows moving. And
As you do.
they've gone to go and have a look, and what they've described as the predator shimmer.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's either that or a predator, guys. I think I'd
Ooh.
rather the Bigfoot with cloaking technology
Oh my
because he's never
God.
been known to hurt anyone.
What if Predator has indeed come to Earth and Bigfoot just like axe handle smashed him? Predator's, going along doing his little
Oh,
clicky
and
sound
he's
thing.
looted his body and used his tech. That's awesome.
I didn't even think of Oh my God.
Sorry, it's
Bigfoot
just you
just
and
got
your game telling me
stronger.
about looting. And now I just think
Yeah,
any
oh.
body on the floor, I'm like, I'm going to loot that.
Loot everything. Bigfoot's like, I got opposable thumbs. I'm gonna loot this sucker. And he's
Yep.
like, what's this claw thing? I'm gonna attach this to my wrist. Now I'm the hide behind.
So, yeah, okay, well, we've solved that as well. We're doing well
So
today.
if Bigfoot wears cloaking technology, fantasy or sci-fi?
Oh, that's definitely where you cross over. That's the line. He is the line.
So if
If a fantasy animal uses
Yeah.
modern technology, which isn't even ours. That's alien technology.
dun dun dun,
All the worlds colliding in the ultimate dimension.
ultimate dimension. I forgot about the ultimate dimension. That's the problem. If you don't think about it, you forget it exists. Like the hide behind, it disappears. It phases
that
out of
was
memory.
a Doctor Who thing as well.
Oh, I haven't seen any of the Doctor Who, so everything you tell me will be news.
Oh, gosh, I feel so sorry for you.
That's okay. I've lived this long without watching it, and, when I die, I won't know what I've missed.
All right, well, I'll put it in more context for you. So,
Yes.
do you remember in Buffy, the Silence, I think they were called?
Yeah. Oh, that was creepy cool.
Yeah. Did they forget them as soon as they weren't looking at them, though?
It's so long ago, I honestly don't remember.
All right, well, in Doctor Who,
Yes.
these creatures didn't exist as soon as you didn't look at them.
That is such
If you
a cool
turned your
defensive
head, they
mechanism.
disappeared. And then some of the characters on there, I'm not going to bother naming them because you're not going to know who I'm talking
Okay.
about. Some of the characters used to go memento style and write on themselves
Okay, that makes sense.
to remind them that
That's clever.
they existed. Yeah.
That's clever.
Yeah, but you had to remember why you even did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Memento was such a good movie too.
Memento is a great film.
Amazing movie. I was going to say something, and then you were talking about Doctor Who, and I lost it, much in the same way as the Ultimate Dimension.
The what?
Oh no, not you too.
Did you want some more news or are you happy?
I'm loving this news thing. If there isn't a video format of this, I want to create it.
Oh, fair enough. Apparently, there's been a series of bizarre eyewitness reports from Texas as there is a living T-Rex roaming the countryside there.
That's a bit hard to miss.
What does that fall into? That's not cryptid. That's not science fiction. Well, it would be cryptid, isn't it? But they really existed.
Until you find out how the T-Rex came to be in this day and age, it's in a grey area. Because if somebody used cloning technology, then it's technically sci-fi.
Okay, fair enough.
But
Well, maybe
if
the
it-
Texans have perfected it.
But if it was like, I don't know, transported through a fairy portal because of rubber band technology flung it forward, then it's fantasy.
Fair enough.
Can the T-Rex cast spells? There you go.
I don't know.
What if it can cast invisibility?
Well, it must have been doing it
Unless
the
it
whole
got the predator
time.
tech. No. Now Bigfoot and T-Rex have predator tech?
Bigfoot, stop giving people this technology.
Oh, no, it's the predator. They got to stop sending all their reject predators here. They're like, this is Jerry. He's an idiot. Let's send him to Earth. Nothing can possibly kill him there. Bigfoot is just like powering through the forest. Do. My name's Bob. I'm a Bigfoot. Steps on Jerry, the predator. He reappears and he's like,
Jerry the Predator.
Jerry the predator.
Okay.
That sounds like something creepy you'd hear on Florida news. Maybe we should change the name. Glupnork.
Yeah, I'm better. That seems more reasonable to me.
Glupnork the predator. With too many vowels, unlike Russian names. And, Bigfoot now has a 3-bladed claw gauntlet majigger and the little 3 red dot laser shooter. But then Bigfoot, who was living his fun life out in the forests of West Virginia, And then suddenly a hide behind, a rogue Bigfoot starts killing all of the lovely campers that leave him like trail mix and all the things that Bigfoot loves. He's like, I'm on a mission of revenge, but they can never know I exist. So now he has cloaking technology and he's got to out-cloak the hide behind. And it's a deadly game of cat and mouse, but it's Bigfoot and hide behind. And it's sci-fi and fantasy mixed together.
Ah.
So what department would you find it in the DVD store?
But-
Trick question, DVD stores don't exist anymore.
Okay. Great. Apparently, harpy eagles are proof of mystical beasts.
Because they're huge.
I think, and they have weird looking faces.
Oh, okay.
You could say, I mean, that's so.
Giant
giraffes are evidence of mythical beasts.
I suppose.
I mean, that's lazy, guys. Come
That's
on,
lazy news.
cryptozoologists.
Maybe there's a reason they don't have like a live action channel.
Yeah.
Because they write down all this trash.
Witnesses are seeing subterranean Sasquatches.
Oh.
So they've gone underground, and that's why we're not seeing them, apparently.
Maybe it's getting too hot on the surface?
Well, you said the Sasquatch was Canadian. Can't be getting that hot.
Well, climate change. A couple of degrees can make a difference.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, apparently they've gone underground.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Now they're tunneling.
And they're going to tunnel up beneath us.
Oh, yeah, through the sea. That makes sense.
They could.
Mm-hmm.
If they've stayed hidden for this long, they can probably dig that far. What if they got predator tech?
This is true.
Mm.
You actually told me about this. The artist in, actually, I don't know what country he's in, but he's making those giant wooden trolls and hiding them around the forest. Belgium.
I love those.
So the Belgian forests.
They're cool.
Yeah, and his point was, well, I think some people have speculated his point. Artists always have weird points that you can. But if people don't find all the ones he's hidden, he's like, yep, existence of trolls. Because if you can't see them, then they could be there.
I would just number them. I'd number the first 3, and then the fourth one I'd number 27.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm like, keep looking, guys.
There could be more.
There are more. There's clearly 27, at least. Go on, get back out there, and while you're out there,
See,
pick
I
up
just
some
can't
rubbish.
support that kind of fraud.
That's fair. Guess you just don't like Belgian people.
I do like them. Actually, do I know any? Yes, went to primary school with one Belgian.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you keep in touch with them?
I don't keep in touch with anyone. I went to 5 different primary schools.
No, I guess you don't like them after all.
I don't know. Well, in that case, I didn't like anyone from primary school.
Wow.
I had 2 friends called Bianca.
You sound like a real piece of work.
I don't have any friends from high school either.
High school sucks. That's why Sasquatch didn't go to high school.
Oh, how many friends from primary school do you know?
None?
Oh, you're a real piece of work.
Well, that's true. That was never up for debate.
Apparently, Pakistan is experiencing a rise in werewolf attacks.
I've honestly never imagined werewolves in Pakistan.
No, me neither. But, that just sounds like a good film name, The Werewolf in Pakistan. It could be a Bollywood film.
Okay, I'm sold.
Yep.
Are you imagining someone in like a really trashy teen wolf suit doing Bollywood dancing?
Heck, yes.
That's a thing.
But aggressively. Like aggressive Bollywood
Is there
dancing.
any other Bollywood dance? They're all aggressive.
No,
like
they're lovely.
They put their all in. No, I'm not saying aggressive in a violent way, but they don't half-ass it.
Yeah, it seems as though werewolves are really not hiding themselves much anymore. Apparently there's a Bay Road cryptid, and I'm assuming that's in America. Nope, London. Oh, no. Wait. Kirsten, read the actual article, you idiot. The Beast of Bay Road. America. So America and Pakistan. But I've got some interesting, this isn't news at all because it's very, very, very old. Apparently there was a werewolf, and a very civilized werewolf, that used to live in, now I need to remember where this is. I'm going to say Scotland. And everybody knew of him. Like, it was just a normal thing in this town because he kept to himself, and if you didn't go near him, he would be perfectly reasonable. Apparently he used to wear human clothes.
Makes sense.
And he had a special rock that he used to like to fish on, and he fished on there for hours and hours and hours. People would see him down there fishing.
Mhm.
I think it was called the Welvern. Yeah.
Oh.
They called him the Welvern, and that was called the Welvern Rock. So you can still go see it today. But he was actually so nice that when he overfished, if he had too many, he would go and give it to the less fortunate in the town. They would find it on their windowsills.
Oh, that's super nice of him.
I know.
What a nice fellow.
I know.
Well, look at the time. This has been
No way.
Bamble. It's 30 minutes already.
Oh, gosh, I had just so much I wanted to talk about. Ghosts next podcast, I think, because I've got some interesting stuff about that too. I've had some thoughts.
We'll see.
I'm so skeptical.
This has been Cram Babble. My name's Taz.
And I'm Kirsten.
See you later, guys.
Bye.